We might never learn how life sprang into being on a tiny planet in an endless universe. The miracle of life fills us each day with wonder. On the premise that during a walk in nature we are able to give ourselves to this wonderment, we might realize, say in a hidden corner of northern Hungary's Bükk mountains, that we as civilized beings have arrived home at last. If humankind miraculously were to disappear from the earth, but nature remained, the landscape would be rendered meaningless, for it is more to us than the ensemble of trees, birds, mountains, and creeks. Our emotions infuse it with meaning. The nature around us opens a gateway to the nature within us. We may distance ourselves from it or lose sight of it altogether, but it only takes a stroll in the woods to rediscover, to return and revert to our true selves. All we need is silence and serenity, allowing nature to wash away the strains of the city. Trying times have befallen the denizens of the forest. Winter is about survival. The forest becomes translucent, covered in white. The ponds and brooks freeze over. Life slumbers beneath the surface. During these months of immense silence, the mountain range transforms into a magical landscape. A slow thaw begins, and finally, the snow melts from the hills. Having lost their icy mantle, the waters of the creeks scamper down towards the valley. Everything whispers of spring. The turbulent flow of mountain waters occasionally tumble to a halt to form smaller or bigger ponds. The ponds of alder swamps and marshlands offer an ideal meeting place for its native amphibians. European grass frogs, who weathered the harshness of a sluggish winter buried beneath the fallen leaves, come back to life in March and move toward the nearest body of water in order to compete for female favors. Amid the courtship and manly shouldering, a note of caution never hurts. The black stork, recently returned, watches hungrily after its long flight from Africa. The venue of the frog parade becomes deserted very quickly. With dangers passing, the group wrestling may continue. The early spring nights are still cold, however. Often the pond of the grass frogs freezes during the night, and the frog eggs freeze with it. Even so, the eggs are immune to the frost. Eventually, the ice surrenders to the rays of sunlight and heralds a new celebration among the frogs. At the rimland of these mid-sized mountains, on rock walls and ledges of abandoned quarries, nests a raptor, dreaded by all animals up to rabbit size. It is the mightiest of all the owl species in Europe. When night falls, no bird or rodent or hedgehog can hide from the huge, bright orange-yellow eyes. The Eurasian eagle owl spends the day sleeping in hollows and under the protection of shrubs. Of course, this daytime slumber rarely passes undisturbed. The curious jay merely attempts to take a look at the arch-enemy, then moves on. A few herbivores choose to rest above the owl's nest over the rim. Nevertheless, there is real danger lurking out there. The nesting pair of eagle owls has caught the eye of the ever-watchful ravens. It is early March, and the time for egg-laying hasn't arrived. But the distinction is lost on these giant crow-like birds. They hunger for eggs. They begin pestering and harassing the owls. First they challenge the male. Then they discover the female under the bush. She is significantly larger and more formidable than the male, but even this won't shield her from the nuisance of the bold ravens. The danger has passed, and the daylight slowly wanes. It is now dinner time. The female emerges from the shrub. The owl couple turn their heads towards each other. Are you good to go? Can we eat now? In April, the leaf cover ruffles here and there around the myriad of ponds. Common toads cling to each other with vainglorious eyes. First task, to reach water. This is seldom simple. The chase is already on. The males need to fight for their chance to participate in the unending cycle of life. Nature's great clockwork keeps ticking. By the end of the toad nuptials, the eagle-owl female starts her brood. The owlets are growing rapidly. Their appetite is insatiable. Once they are a few weeks old, their mother only stays with them during the night. They still receive parental attention, but they are not too far from having to fend for themselves. As in other forests of the world, mythic creatures have gone extinct from the forests of the North Hungarian mountains. They have gone extinct from our souls. The wild animals of the wilderness stopped lurking in the mystic, forbidding darkness where humans had placed them, with their idolization as divine beings, in the days of old. In those times, human habitats were but tiny islands in the ocean of primordial nature. Today, it is quite the opposite. Nevertheless, we still stand in need of nature, or at least the illusion of it. We still yearn for the gentle reassurance, for the existence of a reality independent from us. Immersing ourselves in it fills us with joy. In our efforts to protect nature, we are guarding this reassurance within ourselves. Fortunately, some of these mythical creatures still live with us today. On this spring night, under the full moon, the mountain streams are expecting the arrival of such beings. Seemingly dead during winter months, these creatures are reborn in the twilight of dawn, and motion returns. The spotted salamander was considered a symbol of the spirit of fire and eternal life. After reawakening, the salamanders instinctively search for water. They must reach the creek to be rid of their burden. Every so often, they must fight the cascades and are forced to swim with awkward strides, but eventually they always find a shallow, riparian spot where they can deliver the juveniles. The fire salamander happens to be ovoviviparous. As soon as they are born, the larvae hide under the rocks. Daylight has arrived. The parents also withdraw to their nearby hiding spots. Their task is done. On the old hollow beech tree by the creek, one can see signs of black woodpecker's activity. Our largest woodpecker is occupying her favorite well-worn tree cavity not far from here. The seldom seen white-backed woodpecker also nests nearby. Sometimes the scuffle can be quite intense for suitable nesting holes due to great demand. Frequently, the abandoned black woodpecker's nests are taken over by stock doves. A great tit is searching for nest-building material in the leaf cover, as does a pair of hawfinches. All are unaware of the awaiting danger. Fox cubs are being raised in a nearby den. Their homestead is only separated from a neighboring fox family's by a rain-washed furrow. It is early in the afternoon. After a midday's nap, the mother fox takes the cubs to the thickets above the fox den to introduce them to their surroundings. But first, she sniffs around carefully. All clear, it seems. There is always someone who is a bit slow to understand. The crown of trees by the furrow is bustling with life. The raven fledglings have left the nest a short time ago. Their parents are watching from the sideline. Not far away, Mama Fox is lounging in front of the den. The pups are off on an adventure somewhere. Peace at last. But never for long. The mindful mother takes off to gather her youngsters. In May, sharp-eyed hunters are waking for an early morning. They arrived recently after wintering far away. These are the European Beetles, the jewels of the sand and loess walls of North Hungary. They specialize in preying upon flying insects. This violet carpenter bee, however, has somehow avoided their radar. The occupation of nesting cavities might take some effort occasionally. Once in possession of the selected residence, there is still one more thing left to do before egg-laying: the cleanup. The North Mountain Range receives plenty of rain. On this June morning, it is covered in mystic haze. Summer is also the season for the swarming of insects. The heraldic animal on the coat of arms of this national park, the impressive alpine longhorn beetle, can be found on decaying beech, hornbeam, and oak trees, as well as forgotten woodpiles, with a little luck, of course. The male longhorns fiercely defend their breeding grounds. They are up in arms all day on the lookout for an intruder. Should they find such a foolhardy creature, they are quick to take up the challenge. The mature females are attracted to these places of rendezvous by the smell of rotting wood. Female longhorns live longer than their male counterparts, who typically perish by the time of egg-laying. The hatching larvae will spend 2 to 4 years developing inside the decaying wood. Yet another Goliath of this mountain range is even more severe-looking in appearance. He is armored with an exoskeleton, and his mandibles resemble real antlers. Their larvae spend 5 years inside the wood before transforming into pupae. The brief life of the European stag beetle has mostly run its course after the larval stage. The developed adults only live for a few more weeks. The few eagle owls nesting in this area have to share these rare rock walls with a daytime aerial predator. Back in the 50s, the peregrine falcons disappeared from this region, and their mountainous nesting places were taken over by sacar falcons. But the peregrine's fortune has turned in Europe, causing a strong return of this native falcon. The falcon's dinner table? A stock dove wanders through this domain. Unfortunately, the landlord is home. The birds carry the dove to the plucking perch for their fledglings. Soon the youngsters will leave their parents, but for now, their father is still keeping a close watch on them. The conservationists are banding the juveniles in order to learn more from the movements of the peregrine falcons. A few wingspans further from the realm of the falcons, within the thickets of the forest, wildcat kittens are being raised. At dusk, they emerge from the tree hole where they were born. They are looking for their mother, yet they cannot help marveling at the world around them. In the meantime, Mama Wildcat is chasing common voles in the lucerne field by the edge of a forest. The bee-eater fledglings have slowly reached adulthood. They don't have a lot of time left to gather strength for the upcoming flight. In September, they gather in big flocks to undertake a long, cumbersome journey, only to return in May to their European territories. To those that can read the forest and interpret the signs, autumn is nearing. Among these signs is the emergence of the European mantis. They need heat for their full development. Therefore, their molts are seldom observed before August. This is the time when their mating occurs. During or after the rendezvous, some males turn their backs to the females. This is a fatal mistake for them. Fatal mistake, but a blessing in the species perspective. Females need the energy infusion for egg laying. Another telltale sign of the approaching fall is the European badger putting on weight. Although they do not hibernate, they still need to store extra fat for the winter. Likewise, the bucks searching for does signals the end of summer. At the beginning of September, the hills are still green, but the colors yearn to fade. The landscape, ever so imperceptibly, gives way to autumn. The plants and animals unwittingly ebb and flow with the seasons. Humans, however, in our constant search for meaning and cause, become lightheaded by this unending rotation of life to death, season to season. We feel emptiness, which we try to bestow with meaning, plans, and culture. Then one September dawn, we decide to take a walk in the woods. The Bergern, this particular mountain, is filled with stories. These stories interact, intertwine, and embrace each other. If only the centuries-old trees could talk. They too serve this great organism, or to use the scientific term, this ecosystem, with their lives and deaths. These ancient trees have provided protection, home, and food for others. They give breath to the stories of the forest. These are the tales of life and death. Here in the wilderness, it all comes down to this. As creatures of the forest, they must ceaselessly be on the lookout for danger. They must always find food in their never-ending struggle to survive the day. Nothing is taken for granted. The moving gravity of their animal existence sends a message to us, the creatures of comfort, that in nature all lives are at stake. Perhaps the most telling metaphor of life washing against the shores of death unfolds in the fall. The autumn forest showers us with a golden display. When we open our senses to the forest, it will cast its sheen over our thoughts to illuminate them. The autumn expands this moment in us. We still remember the warmth of summer and perceive this riot of colors as the remnant of summer's revelry. Nonetheless, autumn eternally reminds us of the coming winter. In the autumn, fewer words suffice. But so far, the landscape is not permanently silent. Everything is slowly fading into the infinity of the melancholic, expanding time.